All right, so good morning today. Today is test day. But before you take the test, I wanted you to check out this homework assignment because a lot of these problems are very similar to what's on the test. So, if anything, yes, if you haven't done the homework, there's a good chance for you to get it done with me. So, take that out. But most importantly, if you already did it, double check your answers and see how to do these problems. This is what's going to help you for today's test. If you already did the previous assignments, again, you should be very prepared for it. Now, there's going to be some right triangles in this test, and that's why we're reviewing these concepts. So it says if A is equal to 10, all right, so we're going to put the information where it belongs. In the right triangle below, what is the value of B and C? Now remember, we technically could use SOHCAHTOA here to help us find these values. On the test, you're going to be asked to find just one of these, not both of them. But we do want to remember that if you have a 30 and a 90, then remember, this is when we can also label it using our old idea of small, medium, large. And when we go small, medium, large, well, each one of these had a formula. This was x, this was x radical 3, and of course, this one we could call 2 times x. And so we can put that information where it belongs. Now, we already know what the small one is. The small one is 10. And if you know that the x is 10, well, then there's the 10 for the x. All you have to do is put a radical 3 next to it. Here's an x again, but it's 2 times, there's that 10 for the x, and then 2 times 10 is 20. And then we're going to go in and make sure that we write these numbers where they belong. The large is 20. The medium is 10 radical 3. And the small we already had. So look, just like that, we've answered the question. They said, tell me what little b is. Well, that's 10 radical 3. They said, tell me what little c is. Well, we have a 20. But that's why it's already in your word wall. We have this note, and this is from a previous unit, but it should be there and ready to go. Same thing on number 4. Since it's here, I'm just going to go side to side here. They said, give me the answer from C to B. All right, well, put an X there. Don't just look at it, right? Put an X there. We have a 90. And if this has two sides to it, well, then here we go with the Pythagorean theorem. That's the technique we use when they give me two sides of a right triangle, and all I'm missing is one of them. So the legs are the 3 and the X. These are the ones that touch the 90 here. So 3 and the X. And of course, the hypotenuse, the one that's always by itself, right? The hypotenuse is all by itself over here. That's the number that always goes on its own, the hypotenuse. All right, so now we're going to do our best, see what we do here. 3 times 3 is 9. X squared is x squared. Don't forget that power of 2. 7 times 7 is 49. Let's subtract the 9 from both sides. So x squared is equal to 40. And then, of course, the only thing in math that gets rid of a power of 2 is a square root. So we will square root both sides. And because I cannot take the square root of 40 nicely, then we're just going to leave it as the square root of 40. We're not going to worry about anything else for now with reducing. We just want to make sure you remember that when to use the Pythagorean theorem. And so let's keep it going here. Now, when you look at number 2, it says LP is the diameter of circle O. So they said this is a diameter, which means, remember, if they tell me that this is a diameter, then that just means one thing, that over here on the opposite end, there's two things that I can do because they said that orange line is a diameter. That means I can put a 90 right here. And because from here to here it's a diameter, we know this is 180 for that entire curve right here. This whole arc is 180. Now, we don't know what they're asking for yet, but look at all the details I was able to put in. I was able to say that this is now a 90 here. This is a diameter, so this is 180. And then they did give me one more piece of info. They said angle LPM is 38. Well, let's trace it. LP to M. So P is the middle letter. So that angle right there is 38. And remember, it doesn't take long to do. When they give me an angle that touches the circle 3 times, I'm just going to do a quick 38 times 2, and let's see what the calculator says. That's 76. We actually just found, because of that, that this arc, that little one right here, is now 76. And again, I'm not sure what they want, but it doesn't take long to figure information out. Now, here's what they did say. They said, give me the measurement of angle M. Well, here is angle M. We already put a 90 bucks there, so that one was easy. Angle M is 90. There's my first answer. And then they said, well, give me the angle for this one right here. They want angle L. All right, well, think about it. Guess who's back here again? This is a triangle. This is 38. This is 90. I'm searching for this one right here. Well, the three angles of a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. So here's the 180 rule once again. That one's always around. So the 180 rule says, let's take away this 90. Let's take away the 38. And let's see what the calculator says. Yep, calculator says 52 degrees. We have just found that missing angle. So it wasn't about arcs in this question, but doesn't hurt to review that as well. All right, so the 180 rule, member, is in effect as soon as a triangle shows up. But when they said diameter, that was one of our new rules. A diameter means I get to put a 90 in this corner. Now, when I look at number 5, now number 5 actually has a couple questions attached to it. So, you know what, let's put that one on hold. Let's talk about let's do number 5. Let's see. If TS is tangent to a circle R and GS is 67. So they said, now check this out though. They said from here to here is 67. But remember, when the arc has an angle attached to it right at the center, then this angle is also 67. And when they said that a tangent line is connecting with the radius, remember that also allows me to put another 90 right here. So this is one of those kind of hidden rules that didn't come up much, but look, we have a 90. We now have this angle right here is 67. Even though they gave me the arc, it matches a central angle. No cutting in half or anything like that. So I know my angle, 67. I know this is 90. And then they said, find the radius. All right, but they wanted me to do a couple things. They said, label the given information. Well, there it is. There's the 90. Here, this angle is 67. The arc is 67. They said, set up an equation to help you find the radius. All right, so now here's the thing. They only gave me one side. All they did was give me this side and no one else. I don't know what this third side is. So Pythagorean theorem is completely out because they want me to find this one right here. So here's the thing. There's only one other thing in math, right? As soon as a right triangle shows up, yes, 180 is available. Pythagorean might be available, not here, right? We're trying to find this radius here. But there is one last thing. They gave me an angle. So check this out. I'm going to redraw this triangle just so that you can see it here without all that extra stuff. There's the 90. There's the 67. That makes this the 26. And this is what they want me to find. But you see, when I look at it like this, nice and simple, I notice this is the opposite side. This is the adjacent. This is the hypotenuse. Our friend SOHCAHTOA is coming in. Now remember, in part B, they just said set up an equation. They don't even want me to solve it. But if there's no O, then I'm going with cosine. So cosine of 67 degrees is equal to adjacent over the hypotenuse. All right, and there. Part B said set up an equation to find the radius. This is what's going to help me find the radius. And part C says, all right, well then find the radius. Round your answer to the nearest hundredths. Hundredths just means 2 decimals. So here I go. They want me to actually solve this thing. So even though I already have it here, I'll put a 100 just as a reminder. All right, here we go. 1 times x is x. This times this is 26 times cosine of 67. And if you notice, the letter X is all by itself. So I'm going to bring in my calculator here, and I'm going to type in 26 times cosine of 67. All right, and so this is what I get on my calculator here. I got 10.159, blah, 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 blah. They said rounded to the nearest hundredth. So that's 1015. I need two numbers. So my answer is either 1015 or 1016. But a 9 is right next to it. Then I'm going with 1016. And that is my radius for this circle. All right. Okay. And then there's number 3 here. Let's just keep skipping back and forth here. VS is a tangent to circle G at point V. All right, so look, they said this is tangent. Remember, it's our job to put a 90 then automatically in that corner of that triangle. They said angle S is 30. All right, let's put a 30 in here. Find the radius of G. Well, here's the radius. I'm going to put an X right there. This is always our radius from the center to the edge, of course. Find the length of VS and the length of GS. All right, they want me to find two of them here. Let's see. If angle S and the radius is 15. Oh, I just read that wrong. You see, they said the radius is 15. So I'm going to put a 15 right here. And then they said, give me this side and give me this whole side right here. This is why we practiced it earlier. This is a hint, what you might get exactly like this on the test right now. It's a 30. Look at that. It's a 30. There's a 90. Let me write this out here. It's getting a little too messy with all that stuff there. There's the 90. There's the 30. They said this is 15. Guess who's coming in? Small, medium, large. Well, let's see. Small, medium, large. X radical 3, 2x. My x, the smallest 15. Well, then all I'm going to do is bring it in. 15 radical 3. 2 times 15 is 30. And just like that, I have found everything they asked for. Look, the large side is 30. The medium side is 15 radical 3. So the question was, hey, how much is it from G to S? Well, G to S, there it is. That's the Y value. So I have a 30 there now. They said, tell me how much it is from V to S. Well, V to S is where I have an X, and that was 15 radical 3. And just like that, we have our answer to this problem. But notice how they threw a 3060 in there into the mix. All right. And then you're going to have a question like this one on the test. So please be very careful. All you need is your Desmos calculator to type in. Let me show you what I mean. They said, does the point 34 lie on the circle with this equation? So notice, they gave me an equation. So when you get to Desmos, let me show you what you're going to do when you get this question here. They said, is 3, 4 going to land perfectly on this circle? Well, there's only one way to find out. Look, here's your X, here's your Y. So this is what you're going to type into Desmos. Blank minus 2 squared. Blank, look, I'm putting an extra parentheses here, plus 2 squared, and that's it. You're not going to put equals 49. You're going to check and make sure that it equals 49. If it doesn't equal 49, then it's not on the circle. Now, the reason I'm asking you to do this on Desmos like this is because on the test, you're going to have to pick out of 4 of these choices. Here, we only gave you 1. But on the test, you're going to be given 4 choices, and I believe you have to find the one that will land on the circle so that you don't have to keep retyping it over and over and over. If you get it ready, all you'll do is change numbers. So look, my X is 3. There it is. My Y is 4, so I plug it in. And so then, I let Desmos take over. Let's see what we get here. And I'm going to type it in like that exactly on Desmos. 3 minus 2 quantity squared plus, and then again parentheses 4 plus 2 quantity squared. So now it looks a little different on these calculators, of course, but you see there it is. Like I mentioned, I was going to put in all these extra little parentheses, just like I did there with the powers of 2, and then let's see what happens. See, when I took care of this ended up being 37. All of this on Desmos, right? Or on a calculator ended up being 37, and 37 does not match the 49. So when on the test, if they say, find me the point that lies on the circle, this would not be it. So 3, 4, that point is not on the circle. If it were on the circle, it would have said 49 equals 49, but it didn't. So it just didn't work out this time. All right. All right. So let's go on to the other side. Again, this is a great chance for you to finish this assignment. Don't forget to upload a picture or put your name on it and drop it off in the box. It'll be easier that way for you if you want. So here's the second page here of this assignment. Again, trying to get you ready for the test. So please just pay close attention. Put that phone away, of course, right? Pay close attention here just so you're ready for the test. Now, there's going to be a question on the test where they're going to talk about graphing. And so when it comes to about graphing a circle, remember, you need two things to graph. The first thing you need is a center. Then you need a radius. But when you do the center, well, remember, you need an X and a Y. Well, then if you need an X, then go to where the X is. And it says X plus 1. Well, we already learned that we think opposite of that. So we go -1. If you need a Y value, well, then go to where the Y is. And if it says Y minus 2, then we're going to think opposite, and that's +2. So notice, -1 and up 2, there's the center of my circle. But now all I need is a radius. Now keep in mind, this is not the radius. This right here is actually the radius squared. And so when I take the square root of both sides, because that's the only way to get rid of a power 2, we saw that with the Pythagorean, r is equal to 3, and that's my radius. So remember what that means, though. That means I'm going to go 3 spaces this way, 3 down, 3 to the left, and 3 up. You go 3 spaces in every direction, kind of make a big old plus sign there. And then as best as you can, you draw your circle. And again, we're not going to be grading you on how good your circle looks or anything like that. You're going to be graded on making sure that you have the points where they belong. Okay? But these are the things that we're looking for. It needs to start with a center. And I believe this is a throwback question here. So I'm going to look at number 9 next. This is a throwback question because if you notice, they said, tell me what K is. So I'll put it right here. We do notice that this side here is what we're looking for. We do see a 90. They do give me one angle, and they give me this side. Well, then here we go again. Here's our friend SOHCAHTOA coming in. Here's adjacent, the opposite, and the hypotenuse. So let's bring the name in here. SOHCAHTOA. And of course, you can get to use your word wall so you can see it in case you forgot how to spell it. Hopefully you haven't. H is gone. So then we're going with tangent. So tangent of 33 is equal to a fraction. Now here comes the rest of the name. O is first. That's my K that I'm solving for. A is second, and that's my 8. And just like before, look, we put a 1 under it. We cross it. 1 times K is K. That's what we're looking for. Is equal to, and then I cross over here. And don't let that 33 with the 8 get you. Remember, it's 8 first, and then write the tangent of 33. And because the letter's by itself, then we're ready. All I have to do is type it into my calculator. And they didn't say approximately how many feet tall is the street light. All right, well, I got 5.195. So if I'm going 5.1, my other option is 5.2. Well, the number next to it tells me to go up to 5.2. They didn't say what to round it to. So there's my answer, 5.2 feet. Okay. All right. 2 more to go. Then we can get started on the test. Remember, don't give up on the test. Work hard. Look at your word wall. You got this. So these are the last 2 questions here. Let's go with the circle one first. So I notice this circle S. I see where the center is. And then I notice that my radius, look at that, in every direction, they went 3 spaces. So there's my radius. My radius is 3 for this picture, right? R is equal to 3. They said dilate S by a scale factor of 2 to create circle W. All right, but when they say dilate, that means I'm going to multiply, and I'm going to multiply by 2. All right, so here's my new R is going to be 3 times 2, so it's 6. All right, well then I'm basically adding an extra 3 to all my sides here. So I already went 3, so I'm going to go 3 more. That would make it 6. So I'm just adding 3 more spaces because they want me to go 6 each way around. And there it is. This right here is going to be my circle W. Remember, it got bigger. Of course it did. So there we go. Not the greatest of circles. Good enough. But this one is now circle W. I'm just going to put a W here because the S is kind of taking that spot. So that took care of one of the moves. But now look at the next move. Oh, and I almost forgot the center. I forgot to write it earlier. The center was -1 and up 1. So -1, 1. Okay. But here's the one that's going to throw us off a little. It says reflect W. So this brand new big circle I drew reflected across the y-axis. Now remember, a reflection means you have a mirror. So here's my mirror. And the idea of the mirror was, and I know we don't have too much space here, is here's the center. It's 1 space away from the mirror. Then I have to go 1 space this way. This is the new location for the center. So V. And if I'm going to draw this new circle, well, then I have to go. See, I don't need the reflection anymore. That's it. This is the only thing I needed for V. All I have to do is now go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and here we go. Here is my final circle after the 2 moves that we made. Should be the same size as the other, the one that's in the one we call W. See, but just like that, we have the reflection. So it's going to get messy, but you have a question just like this on the test where just do it one part at a time. Okay. All right. And finally, there is one little question on the test where it's all about labeling. But what you needed to understand was it says describe the marking on the diagram. Put the correct symbol between the statement for each part. So notice you're missing a statement. They just want you to fill in the blank. So they already have the statement for you. You just have to say what's happening. So let me show you what I mean. We're just trying to finish this. They said AM and TH. Well, notice, what does this little mark mean? And if you're saying, oh, it means they're equal. Oh, it means they're the same. Yeah, but in geometry, we say they are congruent. And there's my answer. I could put it in words, right? But they just wanted me to fill in the symbol correctly. So when they're congruent, you're supposed to mark it like this. All right, look at the next one. The next one has BA and DC. Those are not congruent symbols. Those are little arrowheads. Well, that just means one thing. These lines are parallel. And if all they wanted me to do was bring in a symbol in here, here's the symbol for parallel lines. It's literally two lines that are parallel to each other. So that's all you have to do on this. And there's a question kind of like it. I think it's multiple choice on the test. So read it carefully. But this is all they want you to do. I think they're going to ask you which one is set up correctly, right? Arrowheads mean parallel. This means congruent. And then let's look at this one here. They said angle BDA. Trace it. BDA. All right, it's 90. And they said angle BDC. BDC. Well, it's also a 90. So then technically they both measure 90. And if they both measure 90, then we can say that they are congruent because there's no symbol for 90 unless it's perpendicular, but they wouldn't mention angles. If they wanted to say perpendicular, they would have mentioned lines. Only lines can be perpendicular. Angles in this case are congruent to each other. All right, so with that said, I mean, you just saw a couple more problems just kind of get you into math mode before you take the test. I wish you the best of luck. Please don't give up on this. You can do this. Just keep that in mind. Use that word wall. Just don't give up on the test. You got this. All right, have a good day, everybody.